We're live. Hello. Hi. For anybody who is new here or newer, hello, I am Megan and I'm a branding photographer, confidence coach, and speaker slash podcaster. I am coming live today because, as the title kind of explains, the worth within, I felt called to talk about our worthiness and what we can do to feel more just internally grateful and worthy of who we are, how we operate, what we get done in a day. And this is stemming because yesterday in my stories, I just popped on and talked about, for just a moment, the idea of feeling worthy. Like sometimes we don't feel worthy because we didn't get enough checked off in our days. We didn't check off enough tasks on our list. Sometimes we don't feel worthy because we think other people have done more, been more, become more, make more than us. There's so many reasons, right? And so when I went and was talking about this on my stories last night, I had so many responses from people saying they needed that message in that moment, that, why, and just deeper conversations of why are we like this? Why do we just not feel worthy for simply just existing? Like that in itself, right, is pretty much a miracle if you ask me. And yet all these outside things affect us. And so all these conversations from last night into just now before I hopped on led me to say, I'm hopping on to a live, and we're going to talk through finding more worth within ourselves, because that's really the only place and space we can find it that's truly like absolute worthiness, right? And so I thought it was really interesting that so many people were just feeling this lack of worth within their lives, within their business, within their, just in their spirit and their soul. So it got me thinking, right? And some of the conversations I had with people last night over this was the idea that, like, how do we find more worth? How do we stop saying, well, I didn't get the 50 things on my to-do list, which is, first of all, outlandish. Half the time we have way too much going that, like, we're never going to get it all done, and no wonder why we don't feel worthy. But instead of tying our worthiness to a list of things to do, to a number in the bank account, to the way we look, which all of this stuff is ebbing and flowing. None of it is constant. None of it is the same, right? Like, it is always changing. And so how do we get through that? And please make this like interactive. If you hop on live, hello. If you hop in on the replay, feel free to jump into the comments. Like, this is us talking, just like this started in my DMs, with just spitballing the idea of how do we get more worth within ourselves. So here's the things that I kind of thought of. And let me know if you've got ideas or things that you do when you're feeling bottom barreled, or you're feeling like you're comparing yourself to everybody else and you feel zilch worth within your own accomplishments and all of that. Like, let me know if there's anything that you do or you go to help kind of bring it up. But here's some things that I started kind of thinking about. And one of it is, because it's so internal. Like, we have to find a way to change the narrative, right? We have to find a way to shift the energy and the thoughts that are coming in and out of ourselves in order to find more worth within ourselves, right? So sometimes, right, this sounds very obvious and very okay, obviously. But one thing is to shut off the things that are making you feel like you're comparing yourself. If you are feeling less worth within yourself, then maybe we need to shut down kind of the things around us. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's places or spaces or people that we are surrounding ourselves with that we're comparing ourselves to, because we think that we're never going to be what they are. Well, you aren't. That's the truth. And I think the more that we become real, that sounded really harsh, but y'all know if you've been around here long enough that, like, I like to sandwich tough love and wholehearted kindness together for us to be better and do better. But, like, we're never going to be that person. And even though we think we want what they have, or whatever it is that we're comparing ourselves with, we really truly don't. We just want the feeling we think that goes with it. So think about that for a second. When we are comparing ourselves and feeling less worthy, we don't necessarily want exactly what that person has or does or looks like. We think we do. But what we really want is the feeling in which we think we would have if we had this, did that, looked like that, all of it. So how do we figure that out for ourselves? How do we manufacture that, for lack of a better way of saying it, within ourselves? Well, one, it's cutting out the places and spaces that we might be comparing ourselves with. And maybe not cutting out forever, but maybe having boundaries around it, maybe identifying yourself. Like when you find yourself looking at someone's something, right? An accomplishment they just did, or a whatever accolade that you're like, oh my gosh, I would love that. Like, can you listen to your thoughts and think about what it is that you can figure out for yourself to understand how you can bring that to life before you? Not necessarily that same thing, but what I mean is that feeling that you think you want when you are comparing, when you are feeling less worthy. So maybe it's, right? Maybe it is taking steps to do things that get you going on that path of what you are inspired by. Maybe it is. And that's great, but we can't understand that, or we can't feel more worthy if in anything in life if we don't understand our own thoughts. So I think that it's really important that if we are finding ourselves, if you're going through and comparing, or kind of having similar narratives and thoughts going on in your mind, like stopping them in their tracks and thinking, okay, what really is it that I'm after in this? Do I want to feel more rested? Do I want to feel more happy? Do I want to feel more accomplished? Like, what is that? And then when we get to the bottom of what that looks like, even if you don't know exactly, but you can kind of at least get into the right ballpark, then you can make choices for yourself better, right? So it's kind of like a double whammy right there. It's like figuring out the things that are making us feel defeated and less worthy, and then within it, thinking about how we're thinking, how it's making us operate maybe differently. I had a while where I was really not consuming much on social media. Even the people I know and love, like, it wasn't because I was comparing myself to them, but I just needed a moment from the idea of what the outside world was doing or looking like or feeling like, because I just needed to just figure out what I felt like, wanted to feel like, all of that, right? So it was lovely to have a moment of stepping back and having just a different view of myself and my energy. You know, and sometimes we don't listen to that. We don't listen to the energy that goes behind it. We just see like an obvious, oh, I don't have this. I didn't do enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not tall enough. The list is endless of what we can just berate ourselves on and belittle ourselves over. But what if we just started changing that storyline in our minds of that doesn't matter? One thing that helped me, and it's still a work in progress every single day, get more comfortable being like on camera, doing this kind of thing, doing my podcast, speaking on stages, being more bold in my business. One thing that this might sound silly, but because a lot of that is forward facing, like I'm out in the world, I'm out in the community, I have to feel at least some level of confidence happening, right? One thing that I did was just allow myself to see myself in all these different views and angles, like opening this sounds really weird, but like opening the camera, like at that weird view when you're like, you didn't mean to have the backwards camera on and you see like yourself in like a very not flattering way, and just like reminding myself that's just one very small version of myself. And even though I didn't like how it felt or looked, like that doesn't really matter. It doesn't take away from who I am as a whole entire person, right? Things like just like tiptoeing yourself in the direction of feeling really good about who you are, what you do, how you do it, what you say, and, you know, stepping back from what you think the world wants you to be. Because I think that's the kind of the seesaw effect that we have within the idea of worth, right? It's intrinsic, and only we can really truly make ourselves worthy. You could have 3,000 people lining up telling you you are successful, you are beautiful, you are amazing, and in the moment you might think, oh my gosh, like they see all the hard work that I've put in, or they just see all the this and the that. And in the moment, it might feel really good and kind of inflated and elated. But like 2 days later, you might be back to ground zero because it wasn't coming from within. And we all like to feel cared about, seen, all of that. And that is important in life, but it is so internal that we have to figure out how to do that. So collectively, what can we do? We can start taking small steps to just quieting our minds, listening to ourselves, and maybe even extracting when we see other people not feeling so worthy, right? Again, they still have to do the inner work, but if we can find ways to all like cross collaborate in finding our own messaging and our own worth within, it's going to be so much more beneficial for us all. And just even down to our own self, right? We're going to see that more quickly, and we're going to be able to have micro shifts within it because we notice, right? We notice how other people are feeling or seeing or expressing themselves, and then we might see ourselves in other people, right? So it's kind of just really figuring out who at the core we want to be and showing up, hey Victoria, and showing up wholeheartedly in that realm, stepping away from that comparison, right? Stepping away from that comparison, and then getting really real with the just narratives going on in our minds, in our brains. What are we doing to help or hinder this worth? I'm in a season of trying to really be mindful about how I'm loading my schedule. And it feels really awkward because I am the person that wants to do all the things and loves doing all the things and loves people and loves creating and enjoys all this multifaceted human experience and business owner experience. But I got to a point where I realized that sometimes it wasn't doing anybody, including and most importantly myself, because ourselves are the only thing we have at the end of the day. I was not going to be able to produce, right? The life, the deliverables for like a client, for instance, at a good quality if I continue to just stretch myself thin. And so I'm focusing on figuring out what is the most important things that I prioritize in my business in particular, and then in my life, so that I cannot feel depleted and unworthy of myself, of the things that come my way, of all of that, because I'm honing in on not stretching my energetic space and physical space too, right? Too thin. So what could it be for you? What could be a step? We all want to do all the things and be everything to everybody and, make more connections and relationships and make more money and all these things that we as humans strive to do. But at what cost? If we are depleted and we are not feeling of any worth and we're still doing all this stuff and we still don't feel worthy, there is a disconnect there. A huge disconnect there. If in fact, if you're doing all this stuff in order to feel worthy and you're feeling actually less worthy or not worthy at all, we're really in a deficit then. And it's really not going to be helpful at all, right? That's a big sign. And that was a sign for me, right? And you guys know I'm really transparent here. So it was a big sign for me that it's just like doing all these things and still feeling just as kind of wishy-washy or empty on my worthiness meter. So what was the point, right? Just to make everybody else happy? Just to say that I was doing all these things? What was it, right? I don't know. For me, it was, I'm a recovering people pleaser and perfectionist, which I actually have an episode on the podcast about perfectionism and being a recovering perfectionist, because that was what was happening, right? That's what was like charging the line for me. Was the need to feel that if I did all this stuff, everything would be better and be okay, and I wouldn't feel anxious and everybody would be happy. But really, was that the story? Did I go to bed every night thinking, yes, everybody that I've talked to, my family, my friends, my clients, my community, everybody's happy because I did all the things today? Still wasn't the case, because everybody's got their own things and struggles and whatever's going on, that even if I did all the things in the world to help them in 8 different places and spaces, doesn't make them any better off either, right? So it's like, this is mind-numbing to think about, because the ripple effect of how it can help or hinder is actually kind of bonkers now that I'm saying it out loud. And none of it really, right, correlates at the end of the day. So if you are on here and you've stumbled upon this and you've listened to any second of this and you're thinking to yourself, I don't feel worthy. And when you think about it, you also feel overworked, burnt out, like you're doing too many things, that you're still unsure about relationships, that you don't even know where to go next with your business, any or all of these. If those are the next thoughts after it, or your own kind of version of that, Can you take a moment to take a deep breath? Maybe you need it right now. And just get really real with what you're really feeling on the inside. And what could be most helpful right now. You don't have to have all the answers. I promise you, you do not have to have all the answers right now. But what is one small thing that you can do right now to help up the worthy meter and lower the overwhelm? Sometimes it takes one thing, like taking action on something, or saying no to something, or being okay with the fact that you're in a slow season for a moment and not panicking about it, which I know is very hard because, listen, we all are there. But sometimes you can get quiet in that moment and you can find your way to the other side much quicker, much more quickly, because you allow for that moment. You allowed for a little bit of clarity, a little bit of calm to happen so that you can see where to go next, what to do next. I've had a big transition for myself, and I'll use myself as an example because everybody else's story is their own story, right, to divulge into the world. But the last 2 years of my career in particular have been just ever evolving, right? And some things have gone and some things have come and some things have shape-shifted, but none of it was anything I ever really knew that I was going down the paths for, if that makes sense. And there were so many times where I didn't know if it was the right thing to do. I still don't know if some things are what I need to be doing more of or less of or whatever. There's still certain parts of it that I'm like, ooh. But if I tied my worth to feeling, ooh, I would not be able to show up in any way, shape, or form to go where I think I want to go, right? So when I get quiet with myself and think, no, I don't really want to do X, Y, and Z anymore, it opens up this beautiful threshold for me to do more of what I do want to do and what does make me feel more worthy and what makes me feel more capable or more grounded. What if we all ran our lives and our business to just feel more capable and grounded and calm? We live in a society, we live in a world, social media, and so many other places and spaces. I'm not just blaming social media, but we are just bombarded with the idea that more is more. And that's it. Just more is more. Whatever your more is, get more of it, do more of it, be more of it. You can never be just enough. So how can you find yourself in just enough, right? How can you find what your enough is and be there for a while? See what it feels like. Swim around in it. Only then can you know if it really is where you want to be and if there's any other adjustments that you want to make or shifts in your sails that you want to move along. Because again, I can't stress it enough, the worth is within us. Not in any dollar amount, not in any amount of clients, not in doing all the things for everybody. I am so over that season, and I have been for a while, but I'm just now really getting real with the reality of what that looks like, right? My worth is not tied to being everything to everybody. The portrait person, this person, that person, this, da 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 da. Woo! I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore or why I'm doing any of it, right? So if you're feeling like that in any way, it doesn't have to be just in your career or what you're doing, but if you're feeling just pulled in 8 different directions and you think it's going to be the thing that lifts you up and makes you feel better, maybe take a moment to really assess that. Really take a moment to assess that, because I think it's really important for us to be vocal about it too. Like I said, this whole entire live was kind of brought on from conversations in my DMs over stories that I put up last night about the idea of worthiness. So really just get quiet with it and see what this means for you. Because I have this vision for us that just as women, as entrepreneurs, as creatives, that we can all feel a little bit more at peace with who we are and what we bring to the table without doing the most anymore. It's really not necessary. It's really not necessary that we have to do or feel or be in that way anymore. That's overwhelming to think that we have to do everything and we have to do it all perfect, because there is no such thing. When I used to teach dance, practice makes perfect is like that, thing that people say all the time. Practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. And I deleted that out of mine, and I tried to delete it out of like my dancers and my co-teachers and choreographers, things like that, out of their words, out of their mind, because practice doesn't make perfect. Nothing is perfect. Practice might make better, smarter, more confident, but it doesn't make perfect. There is nothing in life that is perfect. Not skin, not a career, not a relationship. It's all ebbing and flowing all the time, right? And so, Harlow, come here, baby. It's all ebbing and flowing. So can you find what you try to perfect in life too often and see what you can do to shift into a more accepting version of yourself within that? Maybe it's in what you do for clients. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on a second. Maybe it's in the way that you do things. Maybe it's in who you do things with. Can you figure out what you're trying to perfect to a point that really isn't serving you? And where is it at? And this isn't just in your business, right? This is anywhere in life. Because I truly firmly believe that like all of it is tied together in some way, shape, or form. For better or for worse sometimes. But we also can have separate versions, right? Of ourselves and the different layers of ourselves. So if anybody's just popping on, feel free to jump into the conversation. Is there anything that you're working to lose perfectionism on? Are there things that you're working to build worth in? Are you ready to take on more worth within yourself? Are you even just send an emoji or something? If you're like, heck yes, I am worth more. I am excited. And if you just want to be a fly on the wall, that's okay too. There's no judgment here. This is a safe space and place for everybody and anybody who wants to be here. I promise you that will always be the truth. That will always be the case. Like, you are safe here. But what can we do to take a look at what we're doing and where we are with how hard we hunker down on perfectionism, or how hard we're hunkering down on something specific that we really want to come to life, but yet it just keeps on feeling hard or feeling overwhelming or not happening. Maybe there's something to look at within that. Is it the energy you're putting out and that's maybe what's happening? You're just so, like, it has to be this way that it's actually not flourishing or growing in the way that you want to, because you're just so hell-bent on it being so, or with this exact pathway or this person or whatever. And also, what are we picking apart? We pick apart ourselves. We pick apart our business. We pick apart all the things instead of stopping. I'm huge on gratitude. And my husband and I always stop and think about something that we've been grateful for. And usually we try to do like 3 or 4 things. Like, what are 3 things that you're grateful for today? And they're usually, we try anyways to make them not like, I'm grateful for my dogs, I'm grateful for my house, And we are absolutely grateful for those. But we try to get a little more gritty. Because you find your worth, speaking of dogs, mine just walked up over here. Speaking of feeling worthy within yourself, that gratitude can help that, right? I think it's really important to take a look at both sides of that. Like, where are we over perfecting and where are we not feeling grateful or feeling maybe just a little resentful of maybe it doesn't even feel like gratitude. It feels like I resent this, and this, and I don't feel good about it at all, actually, which is not a good place or space to be. So I'm going to urge you as I kind of wrap up over the next little bit here. And I'm going to pull a card for, I can't decide if I'm going to do this one or this other deck, but maybe I'll do one of each because maybe that's exactly what we need. I'm going to urge you to do a couple of things. So depending on where you're at with everything or where you're at with your own connection to self. Sorry, I just almost spaced out a little bit and I just watched a video that it was like kind of poking fun, but in like a beautiful, lighthearted way about just like healers and, people who are just very like, which is me, if you haven't noticed. And they like spaced out and they were like, somebody was like, are you okay? And they're like, oh, sorry, I was just in the 5th dimension. So I was like, oh no, I was going into the 5th dimension. I kid, but am I? But what I'm called to remind us all of, and whenever I'm talking on here, this is not me being an expert in any of it. It's me having things on my heart that I see within myself, that I see within my clients, that I see within my friends and everything. And so together, let's take a moment to do a couple of things. I like to do things in 3 a lot because it's my favorite and my lucky and my abundant number. So 3 things. 1, have a quiet moment, whether it's right after you hop off here or you schedule a little bit of quiet time for yourself later. Something. 5 minutes. Put a timer on. You can do it. To just get quiet. Take a couple deep breaths. See what pops up when you ask yourself the question, where do I feel most worthy in my life? Answer that question. Jot it down if you're a journaler. And then ask yourself the opposite. Where do I feel the least worthy in my life? Take a note and see which one, or see what's coming up for both of those, right? See what's coming up for both of those. Hold on. Okay, once you get the answers to those, so what am I feeling most worthy in life right now? And what am I feeling least worthy of in life right now? Answer those questions. And then see what you can kind of cultivate for yourself. Harlow, come here. See what you can cultivate for yourself to do differently within those to help them shift in the best direction possible. There's no exact answer in this, only you know this because it's within, right? It's within you. And so, Harlow, answer those. Then, once you kind of have a little bit of idea or maybe some feelings are coming up or you're just kind of feeling empowered to make a choice, give yourself something. Give yourself something and then if you work better on like some sort of deadline, hold on guys. Sorry, I just don't want you guys to be annoyed by the incessant barking. If you work better on deadlines, give yourself a deadline to do one small, tiny step in the direction of upping your worthiness in the things that you don't feel too worthy in or lowering, right? Like expanding upon the places and spaces you do feel worthy in, right? And just keep on moving and doing little things towards it. The next thing I want you to do is reach out to somebody that you know, love, and trust. If it's me, that's cool too. Like if you're just like, I don't know, I don't feel like whatever, and you're just like, hey, I need a little accountability. Reach out to me and let me know. Let me know. What's I? Man, oh man. Sorry, guys. Okay. So next, if you need an accountability partner, you need somebody to just talk through this. I'm not feeling worthy in this space or place, or I just need a little assistance feeling, like more I'm on the better path to feeling good within X, Y, and Z, whatever it is for you. Find that person. Be more open. I have a handful of friends that I know, love, and can be as vulnerable as possible with. And it's the most beautiful thing because if I'm not feeling like I understand what I'm going through, I don't know where I want to go, I'm not feeling worthy, I can articulate it in any way, shape, or form, and I'm safe, right? So where can you find that? Because the more that we're all doing that collectively, the more that we are opening our hearts about this, the less that it will be burdening so many of us. And again, this live came from having umpteen conversations in my DMs over the idea of worthiness. And so if we can all do it together, how much better will it be? Okay, let's wrap up here. I'm going to pull, let's see, this one's a question. These are questions. So I'm going to pull that first. So anybody who's actually on live, or even if you watch the replay, if you want to pop your answer into the comments, please feel free to. Again, safe space. You can do what you want. You can be as much as part of the conversation as you want. You can be a fly on the wall. I want to reiterate that because everybody is different, and I think that's really important to honor that we're all so different. So this one's going to be a question, and the other one's just like a thought. So we're going to do this first. So I'm going to fan them out. It's always so fun. Okay, fanning. I'm going to pull this one right here. Let's see what we got. Oh, I got 2. Well, let's see. Maybe we got to read both. Ooh, this is really actually kind of good. It's going to be backwards, but what is the most important thing for me in this moment? What is the most important thing for me in this moment? This is really good for what we just talked about. And if you came on later, I'll put this on the feed so you can listen to the beginning if you so choose. But what right now in this moment is the most important thing that you need, that you're called to, that you're craving, that, right, serves you? Take a moment to figure out what's coming up for you on that. What is it? What is the most important thing for you right now? Is it rest? Do you need to go take a quick walk because you need a little movement and fresh air? Is it that you need to go in your inbox and just check off answering a few emails because they're weighing on you and you can't feel free or worthy, right? And that is not tied to your worthiness, but what I'm saying is sometimes we need to get rid of the cobwebs of certain things to then kind of build back up the worthiness, yes? Okay, Julia says, to be present more and not worry about the past things and all the things to come. Thank you for sharing. I'm holding space for you for that because this is so important. This is really a big thing for me to hold space for you for, because it's so important that we remember that we cannot change the past. All we can do at this moment is be as present as possible and then honor what has happened. Good, bad, in between. Release the things that no longer serve us. Embrace and encompass the things that helped us, right? I am really big on the idea that things in life, no matter how big or small or bad or good they aren't necessarily bad or good. They just are. So things that happen in life, right? And I'm very open about my my walk with anxiety, losing a parent at a very, very young age, things like that. I look at them as it's part of my life. It's not all that I am, right? And so some of them are very hard and heavy, but I hope that resonates with you in some way, shape, or form. But being present right now and just giving yourself the gift of release or honor, or most likely a mixture of all of it for all the different parts of you from the past, can help you be a better, more present, more worthy version of yourself. And you deserve that, Julia. You absolutely deserve that. So please know that that's like from my heart to yours. And I hope that helps. Let's see what we got. Oh my gosh, I almost clicked out of this. Natalie says, being more present with my kids and less phone time. Okay. Oh, thank you. You're so glad you caught the live. You're always inspired by what we share here. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So here's what I feel called to remind you of, Natalie. When you're feeling like maybe you're not as present with the kiddos, and we all have this, right? Like, we're so connected in so many ways. It's so hard, right? To sometimes feel that we're where we want to be when we want to be there. So I feel called to just kind of say, like, can you take a look at kind of your upcoming days, for instance, like maybe the rest of the week, and just see where you can find some ways to inject really intentional time with the kids, in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's, I know, like, sometimes there's no way to do it because we have baseball practice and we got this and that. And so it's like, it doesn't feel intentional, but how can you make it intentional? So maybe on the drive to school or sports or art class or whatever it is, you can tell I was a creative kid. I'm like art class, music, all the things, hoping that more kids are in these things. Anyways, can you pick a song or something or a story that you can do within, or some questions that you can ask within, like, the crazy times that you can't really, feel like you can do something very intentional, but maybe you can make it your own version of intentional. And for me, when I'm feeling too connected to phones and other things, I sometimes have to give myself kind of some, not limitations, I don't really like that word necessarily, but just some kind of like boundaries and guidance on there. So maybe just taking a look at where you can find some space for yourself within all the things that we're connected to. Victoria, you are such a good mama, Natalie. Oh my gosh. You're so sweet, Victoria. You are a good mama. Everybody that is feeling like not worthy in whatever it is, being a mama, being a business owner, being just human. Oh my gosh, can we have a heart for sometimes just not even feeling worthy existing sometimes. We all are. This is your reminder. If you need to hear it from somebody else, this whole thing has been about it's within you and it's within where you go and where you guide yourself. But if you need it from somebody else, let me be that person for you today and remind you that you are worthy of being here. You are here for a reason. You are the mama you are to the kids that you are, the friend that you are, the sister, daughter, client, practitioner, entrepreneur. You are who you are to everybody else because you are meant to be. You are meant to be. So if we can find our love and our worth for ourselves, we are going to be better versions of that of all those things for everybody we know and love. For everybody we know and love. Okay, so since I pulled 2 questions and I thought, why not? Here we go. What kinds of good and beautiful things am I experiencing in this moment? Oh, I love this. A little breath for that. What kinds of good and beautiful things am I experiencing in this moment? So that was the one that came out with the other card. So when we focus on the things that are good, even if it's really hard in whatever season we're in or where we're at, they evolve, they grow, right? They do beautiful things. And if nothing else, they make us at least come down to earth for a second. Yesterday, when I did the stories that sparked this live, I was outside and I was putting my feet in the grass and I was in nature and I was just taking time to look at this beautiful tree that I love that's outside in my backyard. And it brought me down a notch when I was not feeling worthy of anything in the moment. And so what are the good things? For me yesterday, it was the tree, the grass, the wind in my hair, the conversations that I had after doing my stories yesterday. All of that was the good things that I was experiencing right now in this exact moment. It's these conversations. It's seeing and feeling the support from people on here that are going through the same exact human experience as I am. And that's a good thing for me because I am not alone. You are not alone. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so it also was just a really great time with a client earlier today. That's a beautiful, good thing. And a really cool adventure I have tomorrow, which I have no idea what it's entailing, but I'm doing it. I'm going. So those are the good things. So what are they for you? What are some good things in your life right now that are so beautiful? That are so stinking beautiful, my friends. Okay. I'm going to pull one more thing here as we think through that. This one is more just a statement versus a question. Ooh, there's one upside down. Let me fix it. Okay. Or not upside down. Backwards? I think that's the right word. I think it's backwards, not upside down. Okay. So what are the beautiful things that you can focus on right now? And if anybody has a few extra minutes this afternoon or tonight, can you expound upon those? Can you journal about them? Can you share an excitement with your kiddos, your husband, your friend about those beautiful things? Okay, so let's see what statement we're gonna pull here. I can't, my fingers aren't working. Okay, there we go. Oh, I love it. It's gonna be backwards, but our brains are pretty smart. We can read backwards, right? I connect with people I enjoy. I connect with people I enjoy. So that's a really great ending to this whole thing because just think this whole time, right? We're connecting here. Yes, there's a screen between us. Yes, right? We're all on different fields of what we're feeling and what we're thinking and all the things, but we connect with people I enjoy. So can you think of a few people in the last maybe week or the last month or even just this year, since it's still earlier on in the year, who have you really connected with lately that you've loved and you feel so good about? Is it maybe somebody you need more interaction with that you could crave seeing more or even having just more conversations, even if it's just phone or text or something? Is there somebody who lights you up? Is there somebody who you need to remind that you just love and enjoy having them in your life? That's a powerful thing. Last year I did the Hyped Challenge, which was 365 days. People got an email with I think it was 7 or 8 prompts, and you the gist was that you picked a couple of the prompts to focus on and do throughout the week. So sometimes they were send a text to 2 or 3 people this week that you're really proud of, or sometimes it was work on going to bed a little earlier, and people could pick whatever ones they want. But some of the most favorite ones last year that people did were like the ones to reach out to people, and they really felt connected. So hey, maybe it's that. Maybe this is our reminder that the people that we enjoy connecting with, we need to remind them of that, because I've been there. Oh, that person knows how I feel, or that person, they're doing so good over there that they don't need to hear that I'm, excited for them or proud of them. But that's like so not the case. That's our perception. And most of the time you'll find that people will say, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I needed to hear that right now. Or you have no idea what today felt like. And just hearing that or seeing that or reading that was what I needed, And so who are those people you love connecting with? Can you pick a person or two to send a kind message to, or a handwritten letter? I had one person do in the Love Yourself Challenge in February. They wrote a handwritten letter for all 29 days of the month and sent it to 29 different people. And I thought that was freaking beautiful. So who are the people that we love to connect with? Can you give them some love? Can you give them some just a little acknowledgement and let them know that they are worthy as well? All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here. If you're just hopping on now, I will put this in the replay. We chit-chatted about just finding our own worth, about how to release some of the things that maybe aren't serving us, and perfectionism and all these things, so that we can feel worthy within ourselves, because that is where it starts, that is where it lives, and it is important to tap into. So thank you all so much for being here. As always, my DMs and all the things are always open for you to say hello. I say it all the time, but I love connecting with you all. I will never stop saying it, because connection is at the heart of me, but it's at the heart of just life and all of that goodness. You are so welcome, Natalie. Oh my goodness, I hope that your heart feels a little bit lighter. I hope that you feel ignited to just feel powerful in yourself today and this week and going forward. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing a piece of your heart, and for the love and support my way as well. I appreciate, you have no idea how much I appreciate that. When I feel called to come on these lives, which is kind of sporadic typically, I know it's exactly what I need, and so many other people need too. So thank you guys so much for being here. I am sending you with so much love, so much light, and remember that you are freaking worthy of all the beautiful things in life.